The slap was not loud. That was what unsettled everyone. It was precise, controlled, a sound meant for humiliation, not anger. Flesh against flesh, measured to leave a mark but not draw blood. An insult perfected over tens of thousands of years. Commander Elias Rook staggered half a step, boots scraping against the polished obsidian floor of the celestial tribunal. Every eye in the chamber watched. Every species that had survived long enough to believe itself eternal leaned forward in quiet satisfaction. High Arbiter Veilrix did not raise her voice. "That," she said calmly, lowering her glowing hand, "is the price of being human." For a heartbeat, Elias said nothing. Then he straightened. Slowly, deliberately, he turned back toward her, the faint red imprint of her bioluminescent fingers glowing on his cheek like a brand. And he smiled, not wide, not angry, a small, knowing smile like a man watching a trap finally close. Then he said softly, "You're really going to enjoy what comes next." Something old and unpleasant stirred in the room. The room where gods decided who lived. The celestial tribunal was built inside a hollowed moon, wrapped in gravitational stabilizers older than Earth's oceans. It was a place where physics bent politely out of respect. No human had ever spoken here without permission. No human had ever been touched. Until now, Elias Rook stood alone at the center of the chamber, a single mortal surrounded by beings who measured their lives in epochs. Some glowed, some floated, some existed only as distortions in light. They were the architects of extinction events, and they were amused. Humans had been allowed into interstellar politics the same way one allowed a clever animal into a laboratory to observe, never to negotiate. Veilrix returned to her elevated platform, wings folding behind her like sharpened blades of light. "You have 5 minutes remaining," she said. "Use them to apologize or use them to leave." Elias rolled his jaw once, feeling the swelling beneath his skin. "No," he replied. The word echoed louder than the slap. 2. Why humans were considered safe. The ancient races had rules. You did not provoke entities that lived forever. You did not antagonize species that could wait you out. You did not fear creatures that died quickly. Humans died quickly. That was the mistake. The Dominion had watched humanity from afar, observed their wars, their nuclear scars, their brief flicker of civilization. They saw a species that burned hot and fast, emotionally unstable, endlessly divided. A species that would never unify long enough to matter. Elias knew all of this. That was why he'd been chosen. He was not the strongest human. He was the one least afraid of dying. 3. The moment the room shifted. "You misunderstand why I'm here," Elias said, his voice steady despite the pain radiating through his face. "I didn't come to ask for a seat." Veilrix's eyes narrowed slightly. "You came to lecture us?" "No," he said. "I came to warn you." Laughter rippled through the chamber, low, alien, layered in frequencies meant to unsettle mammalian minds. "Warn them." Elias raised his wrist. The device embedded beneath his skin responded instantly. The air above the tribunal twisted. A hologram bloomed. Not decorative, not symbolic. Tactical. Star charts. Trade lanes. Core systems. Then red points appeared. Dozens at first. Then hundreds. Then thousands. The laughter stopped. 4. The things humans built in the dark. "You never saw us as a threat," Elias said, "which meant you never watched where we built." The map zoomed. Human installations hidden inside radiation storms. Shipyards buried inside rogue planets. Artificial moons drifting without transponders. "No empire ever bothered us," he continued. "You assumed we'd collapse on our own." The red points pulsed once. "Instead," Elias said, We learned how to survive in places you can't. Valrix rose from her seat, wings flaring. These structures are insignificant. Elias nodded. Individually. He tapped again. The map changed. A seraph dominion system. Pristine, ancient, sacred. Then reality folded inward. The star did not explode. It vanished. Matter screamed silently as space-time collapsed into a controlled null state. Planets were unmade atom by atom. History erased. The tribunal felt it, even across light years. Several ambassadors recoiled instinctively. That system, Elias said quietly, ceased to exist 8 minutes ago. Silence swallowed the chamber. Immortals meet finality. Valrix's voice dropped. You weaponized existence. Elias met her gaze. We weaponized inevitability. You would destroy entire systems, she demanded. No, Elias corrected. We remove them. He let that sink in. Humans don't wage long wars, he said. We can't afford to. His eyes swept the chamber. So when we fight gods, he added, we don't aim at armies. A pause. We aim at legacies. Something like fear rippled through the ancient beings. They had never feared extinction, only inconvenience. Until now. 6. Why humans terrified the eternal. You're unstable, Valrix said. Your kind lashes out. Elias shook his head slowly. No, he said. We end things. He stepped forward. No guard stopped him. When a human commits to violence, he said, it's because every other option failed. His voice hardened. And when we decide someone cannot be allowed to exist, the red points flared again. We don't negotiate with time. Valrix stared at him, truly seeing him for the first time. Not a primitive. A deadline. 7. The offer, that was not a request. We're not here to conquer you, Elias said. We're here to be acknowledged. Valrix folded her wings, slow and deliberate. And if we refuse? Elias smiled again, colder this time. Then this galaxy gets very quiet, he said. Very fast. He lowered his wrist. And we move on to the next one. The threat was not loud. That was the worst part. 8. The price changes hands. The tribunal deliberated for less than a minute. That alone told Elias everything. Valrix finally spoke. The Seraph Dominion recognizes humanity, she said. Not as equals. Elias tilted his head. But as an extinction-capable civilization, she finished. He nodded once. That's all we wanted. She studied the fading mark on his cheek. You walked in here knowing we might kill you, she said. Why? Elias met her gaze. Because if you had, he replied, the fail-safes would have assumed the vote failed. A beat. And because humans learned a long time ago, he added, that pain is temporary. He turned away. Consequences are forever. 9. Epilogue. The thing the galaxy learned. Hours later, as the Resolute Dawn slipped into dark space, a junior officer finally asked the question no one else dared. Sir, did we really show them everything? Elias stared into the void. No, he said. He smiled faintly. We showed them enough. The stars stretched. Somewhere, ancient beings stared at the darkness a little differently. Because for the first time in cosmic history, the universe understood something terrifying. Mortals don't need eternity. They just need one moment, and the will to end it.